What is up, fishing fools? For today's episode, I'm going to go over my boat. I've done a lot of upgrades to it lately. Some of y'all know about it, some of you don't. But I get asked quite frequently, what things can I do to my boat to improve the quality of it, to improve how efficient everything is in there. So I'm going to go over some of the things I've done to my boat. I bought my boat from my grandfather right after we bought our house a couple of years ago. It hadn't worked in probably 3 years. It sat. I mean, it ran when it was put away, but it hadn't been ran in 3 years. And then I parked it when I got it, and then last year I decided to go ahead and throw a battery in it. We ended up running into some issues, but ended up having to replace the fuel pump, get the carbs cleaned, replace the stator, the ignition system, and then we ended up doing a full power head rebuild because one of my cylinders had backed out, which is very common on the motor that I have. So now I've got a top-notch running motor thanks to my buddy Alex over at Fulton Marine. If you're in the Choctaw, Oklahoma City area, definitely give him a look. He does amazing work, and if you need anything done with your boat, and I literally mean anything from redecking to motor work to trolling motors to new installs, whatever you need, this guy can do it. So let me go ahead and show you some of the upgrades I've done to the boat. First, I replaced the boat winch strap. The one I had was weathered and definitely worn out. So if you're going to do this, I highly recommend that you crank it up a lot. Go to the nearest lake to you. Try not to get on the highway. But it took several cranks to get her to actually go tight. But I finally got her down and took her to the lake a couple times. Got it to where I unwinched the boat, winched it, got the strap wet, and now we got it to where she winches up nice and tight every time and never comes loose. Another good important thing to do, if you don't have anything, I've got a giant cotter pin in here, but you need to have some kind of pin or bolt or something keeping this closed, because I have once had this thing come open before, not on this one, but a different boat I owned. So it is definitely wise to pin your tongue shut, otherwise it'll pop off and then you got to pray your chains hold on. Next upgrade I did, I had an old trolling motor on here that was probably the original with the boat. It was starting to give me some fits. I didn't have as much power as it should, so I upgraded the trolling motor to a brand new Minn Kota Edge. This is a 50 or 52 inch long shaft. It's around $400, $450, some places up to $500, but it is definitely worth the investment. This thing right here runs the boat no problem. I've only killed the battery once on a very windy day, but definitely love my new trolling motor. It has made the world of difference. The next upgrade I did, this isn't really an upgrade, it's just an attachment, but I ended up installing this. This is from Jellyfish USA. What it is, that right there, it'll actually hold a minnow bucket, and as you can see on top of it, it has a little tray for you to put crappie niblets or a can of Coke or anything like that. It's got a couple slots for some pliers, and then the little bitty slots on the sides, that's actually for an aerator. So if you're a big time into crappie fishing using minnows, that is definitely a handy thing to have. That way it's not on the floor, it's not something that you're going to kick around, accidentally tip over. It's always by your side or right behind you. You don't have to ask your buddy to hand you a minnow or anything like that. So definitely a great investment. Next thing I did was I bought a single rod holder. Cost just a couple bucks out of Walmart, and I bought it just to put on the front of my console, so that way I have a net holder, so I don't have to scramble to find the net, get it untangled from whatever's on the floor or anything like that. It's always right there ready to go right behind me. Next upgrade I did is I put a rod holder on the side that kind of gets my rods up off the ground during traveling time. And usually when I'm done traveling, when I'm bass fishing, I'll pull them out of the holders and I'll just lay them right here, get them off out of the way to where when I'm casting I don't accidentally hit them. But any other type of fishing, saugeye, walleye, crappie fishing, even catfishing, I'll keep the rods in there. They're up, out of the way, and definitely makes my life a lot easier. Next upgrade I did, you can't really see it, but this here is my live well. This was not working when I got the boat, and I talked to my grandfather. He couldn't even remember the last time it did work. But I ended up having Alex replace both my bilge pump and my live well pump. Got everything working. He bypassed the timer switch that it had. Got this thing running great. Now I can actually keep my fish alive, which is amazing. This is not necessarily an upgrade, but this is what I highly recommend. Get yourself a nice little cooler. I got this one from Walmart. I don't even remember how much it was, like 20 or 30 bucks. but always keep some water in the boat in case you get thirsty or get cut or something like that. Definitely handy. That way, if you're not lugging around a big ice chest, just something small, keep your bait cold, keep your waters cool. I upgraded these back straps right here. These are Transom Savers, or Transom straps. And the ones I had on there were old school. You had to slide a ring around the handle to keep it locked in place. Now these work amazing. Show you how they operate. They're real easy. Pop it open, pull your slack, pull it off. When you're ready to store it, hook it, pull it tight, pop it down, roll up your excess. This is not easy to do one-handed, but in case you got the old school kind, or your trailer's not really made for those ratcheting types, put that on. Take this Velcro piece. I know y'all can't see what I'm doing, but take this Velcro piece, put it around, holds your slack up real nice and neat. Next upgrade I did was I put new LED trailer lights in. They had the old school, you know, filament bulbs in there. I had busted the lens on one of them and it was just kind of being held in with a piece of rope. So definitely time to upgrade the trailer lights. So this was actually one of my favorite investments that I made. I've got the flashers on right now just so y'all can see how nice and bright they are even in the daylight. So there's the other transom strap. One of my next upgrades I did, I installed this gear caddy. This boat does not have any cup holders or gear holders on it whatsoever. So I found this gear caddy on Amazon. I want to say it was about 10 to 20 bucks, somewhere in there. But it is definitely a lifesaver. Now I have a place to put my drink, a place to put gear. I have a place for my pliers, my cutters. It's also where I keep my boat plug. Number one important rule: if you're gonna ever own a boat and you never owned one, this right here is your best friend. Do not forget to put this in. That is my number one step every time I get out to unload the boat into the water. Right after I get the transom saver off, which is the first thing I do, I put this in. Do not forget this. I did it once, almost lost my boat. Not this one, but my very first boat I ever owned. Won't make that mistake ever again. Praying to the good Lord above. But this gear caddy, what I love about it is I actually still have clearance for my hand for the throttle, so it actually fit perfectly in there. If you haven't gotten one of these on your boat and you need a place for a cup holder and stuff to hold your gear, you can even tell I got a little jig in here. Say I'm crappie fishing and I cut it off and I change to a different bait, I can actually hang my jigs in there. Real handy to have, real nice to have. Highly recommended if you don't have anything to put gear in. Then one of my last upgrades I did, I installed a new depth finder at the helm. I had an old compass sitting here. You might have seen in some of my older videos, but the compass didn't work. The fluid had leaked out of it. The light didn't work and everything, but I had an old school depth finder right here, and it stopped working on me last year, and it wouldn't read my depth correctly for the majority of the time. I'd be in 6 foot of water. It'd say I was in like 79 foot of water. So definitely not very accurate. And some of these lakes here in Oklahoma have a lot of stumps and a lot of rocks, and that's just a very, very bad recipe. So I got lucky. I found a guy online. I got to meet him. He's actually a really good guy named Travis, and he hooked me up with this Lowrance. He was upgrading to a Garmin LiveScope, so I got this Elite 7 HDI. It's got GPS mapping, it's got down scan, it's got sonar. It has just about anything and everything I could ever need in a depth finder. I don't need side imaging. I don't do that kind of fishing really, and it's really, everybody I've talked to says it's more of a waste of time than anything. So definitely one of my favorite upgrades. So other than that, I did get a new net. This one here, right here's got that rubber mesh on it instead of having the nylon netting. My hooks don't get tangled in this. It's really easy to get fish in and out. This thing has already landed a massive catfish, which you will see if you go back and watch some of my other videos. So definitely a great investment. This is Frey built, bought it at Walmart for I believe about 40 bucks. If you're looking for a good net, I highly recommend it. Anyways, that is my boat. So I hope this helps some people. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. The last upgrade I did, I installed an onboard battery charger right there. It will charge 2 batteries at once. It charges my trolling motor battery, which is under here, and my cranking battery, which is back in the back. And then what I did was, if you can see it, I know my boat's dirty, I gotta clean it up some and vacuum it out, but I drilled a hole there, and that takes the cord for the charger to plug in, and it brings it up to this adapter. So this right here is very handy. If you don't have one, there, I can't remember exactly how much. I want to say it's about 15 bucks online on Amazon. But this right here makes it to where all I gotta do is drag an extension cord out, flip it up, plug it in. I don't have to dig for a cord. I don't have a charger sitting in the way or anything. Everything's tucked away nice and neat. So definitely a great investment right there. As you can see, I just installed that the other day. Haven't had time to really break out the vacuum. So anyways, I hope this video helps somebody out. If it gives you a great idea, let me know. Other than that, I have some future plans for the boat. I plan on replacing the graph at the front by the trolling motor to something with down imaging. Then I also plan to build a deck on the back of the boat, so that way we can bass fish out of it a little bit better. You're not way down in the boat where you can't flip and pitch. So anyways, that's my boat. That's the upgrades I made. I hope this helps somebody, and let me know what you think of the video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and as always, keep the lines tight.